I'm Terry Ross. I decided to do a little Q&A where I ask all of my subscribers to give me all of their questions about life, love, and game development, and I will answer it for them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to ask you a question. This question has an individual answer for every single person in the world, and I would love to hear everyone's different perspectives on it. But anyway, let's get to my questions. What are my favorite and least favorite games? Probably my most favorite game of all time is, I think it's always going to be Psychonauts by Double Fine. That game perfectly, amazingly blended narrative and gameplay. I think that narrative games can be so much more than we allow them to be in this medium, and Psychonauts is like a perfect example of that, because you have excellent writing, by the way. Like, every single character and storyline in Psychonauts hits, but it's perfectly blended with the level design and the gameplay and the aesthetics to make like this deeply impactful story. Like, it tells a story that you could not tell with a movie or a book. It's such a good game. And incidentally, my least favorite game is Psychonauts 2, the sequel. I thought I didn't care about like bad sequels, right? Everybody has like a favorite nostalgic franchise that eventually has its own bad sequel. I thought I was above that. But when Psychonauts 2 came out, I had like an actual mental breakdown. It was disgusting. I try not to think about it, but I still love Psychonauts, and I recommend that everybody play it. It's a great game. And it's not a girly game, but I would love to see more girly games integrate narrative and gameplay the way Psychonauts does. Very common question I got. What got you into game design? Officially, I would say that I was probably getting into video game design specifically when I was in high school. But every time I kind of look back on my life, I realize more and more that I probably was a game designer my whole life. I just never really realized that it was perfect for me until I got into high school. Humans are like naturally really playful when they're growing up, because that's how we learn. That's the mechanism by which human beings learn things when we're children. You probably never had to think about this until right now, but when you were a child, very likely there was a game that you played that nobody taught you. You just made it up. It's like, that was my favorite thing to do, is I would make up games for my friends to play. Or I had dolls. I loved little tiny miniature dolls, and I would love to make little houses and towns out of paper. Well, I was at the hospital a bit when I was a kid, and it was so boring in those places, but if I had my dolls, I could just make something up to entertain myself. I know as an adult that that ability to abstract, to be like, this is a representation for this, and let's add some rules on top of it as a form of entertainment, I know that that directly influenced who I am today. But anyway, I'm delaying the inevitable, which is telling you exactly how I got into video games, like seriously, because it's a really cringy story, and I'm gonna tell it to you, and I want you to not judge me, okay? It's cringe, but it's my story, it's my truth.
Women's stories matter.
So there was this boy. I had a crush on him. Look, I was a child, I didn't know any better. All he would talk about was video games. Like, he wouldn't talk about anything else. And I'm like, okay. I had played like some Game Boy Advance games, a couple of, I play the games that everyone else plays as a kid. I didn't really think anything of it, but he was like a hardcore gamer. Like, he would play on consoles, and he would always have all the latest consoles and stuff. So, we listen and we don't judge. So what I would do, because I wanted to talk to him about video games, was I would go online at the library and research how the games were made and all of the industry stuff, so that I could like seem really smart and talk about it eloquently with him. But as I started reading more and more about the video game industry, and specifically how games were made, it was like a light turned on. When I tell you I dropped everything, I did a complete pivot. I was like, this is what I am dedicating my life to. Because it resonated with me so strongly. Like, I can't even begin to explain. And I never went back, and I never will. I was put on this earth to make games. I know this with 100% certainty. So it's really unfortunate that there is going to be an apocalypse soon, because game designers are not really all that useful in the revolution, but we play the hand we're dealt in life. Anyway, what is your dream game project, either to make or to play? This will come as probably a shock to a lot of people. I do not have a dream game. Let me get my books. I have these. These are books that I have been writing in for maybe 10 years, and these are all game ideas. All of them. I fill one out maybe once every couple of years. You may recognize this from the Mary-Kate and Ashley video, because I did actually write my Mary-Kate and Ashley game idea in here. Look at it, page after page after page. There's about maybe 6 to 8 entries on each page. Anytime that I have a game idea, I put it in a book, and then I just try to forget about it. I enjoy having creativity, but there are certainly times when it plagues me. I'm more of like just being constantly bombarded with good ideas and really struggling to pick one. That's my problem. So I don't know. If you watch this channel, I am constantly just like spitballing random game ideas constantly, and most of them are from my books. I just sort of have them and I write them down, and sometimes I like to flip through them for inspiration, but that's how I live my life. I hope that answered your question. Oh yes. A lot of people have asked me, how do I make my videos? I am tempted to gatekeep this, honestly, because once you figure out how easy it is, how lazy it is, you may lose all respect for me. Basically, it starts out like this. I just filmed myself in front of a green screen, and then I made a mock-up of a desktop, like from the 90s, kind of. I used these Windows icons that are free. You can get them on itch.io, and then I put myself over it like this. And then I just used like a default Premiere filter called Lens Distort to make me bulge, and I also add like a little grain and a little bit of like color offset to make it look like the old school screens, and that's it. That is literally it. It's nothing crazy or super creative. You know, honestly, the reason that I did that is I'm not very good at making like super cool effects. So I kind of made it look shitty on purpose, because if you do it shittily as an aesthetic, it works. Now you know my terrible secret, and you are welcome to copy it for yourself. Yeah, that's it. I'm 17 and an aspiring game developer. I wanted your opinion on what to major in for college. I did go to college for game design, and I recommend that you not do that. Any kind of like game development course for a college, it's a grift. It's a scam. Do not fall for it, okay? A lot of colleges are preparing you, when they say they're preparing you for a job in the game industry, they like to pitch it to you as, oh, you can make your own games, and isn't it fun to like have a job about this passion that you have? But what they're actually preparing you to become is a cog in the AAA game industry's like bloody crunching death mill, okay? They were giving you like a very narrow skill set so you can go straight into like Amazon Studios, like Jenga, Monopoly, mobile game maker, and you can crunch for 6 months to make their dumb free-to-play game, and then they fire you and Jeff Bezos makes another $300,000. Or you work for Ubisoft and they do that. Or you work for EA and they do that. Or you don't get a job at all. Everything that you learn in a college game development course, you can learn for free online on the internet right now. Any networking that a college could normally provide you, like that's one of the main ways that college is beneficial to you, is it allows you to network with students and the industry. You can do that by just going to like a GDC, volunteer and be like a CA, or go to like a couple of industry events on your own dime. Like those are expensive, but they're less expensive than college. The fact that an institution is asking you and your family to pay upwards of $100,000 to teach you something that you can learn on the internet for free is ludicrous and offensive. I recently just had my debt canceled, the last little bit of my debt canceled, but I was paying for it for 10 years and it did nothing for my career. Get a degree related to a career that you can reasonably tolerate and will make you money, just like everybody else, okay? Don't overthink it. Making money off of games is going to take a while, and you're going to need to support yourself long-term before you ever start seeing that money come back to you. And so that's my recommendation. This is another one related to my career. Do I have a job in the game industry? No, I am a professional game designer, but I do not work for video game companies. I work in the amusement industry. Yeah, I design escape rooms and haunted houses and mini golf and like those kinds of things. When I just got out of college, I had like a couple of mobile internships and I did a lot of freelancing, but it was really, really hard to find like an actual steady job. So I had a part-time job as an escape room master for this escape room company. About a year into it, the owners were thinking about building an extra room at their facility. And I was like, oh my God, I should be allowed to design that room for you and build it. And for some crazy reason, they let me. It's absolutely insane. It's probably because they were paying me minimum wage and they would have actually had to pay like a contractor or something to come and do it otherwise. But yeah, I had an escape room on my resume. All my other jobs from that point on were in the amusement industry. I got to do stuff at Six Flags and SeaWorld and museums around the country and like other little theme parks and stuff. And I got to travel everywhere around the country. And eventually I was making so much money doing amusement that I stopped applying to the video game industry. And I was like, I think if I ever make a video game, it's gonna be my own. Like, I can do that now. And that is currently what I am doing. So when I say I'm a professional game designer, I just don't do it for the video games industry. All of the games I've made, which one is my personal favorite? I don't really like any of the games that I've made so far because they're not like emblematic of what I truly want to do. I want to make like full-size games. There is one game that I worked on years ago called Paranormal. It is to date my most successful game. I made just under $2,000 on that game, and that seems probably pretty amazing until you realize that I was working on it for 5 years. I'm proud of finishing it, but I obviously wish that I didn't spend 5 years working on what was like ultimately like a very small game. I can't say that there's anything yet that I'm fully like, yes, I love this game. I really love that other people love it, because I haven't made it yet, I think is the answer, but someday I hope to. And I'm proud of all of the games that I make because they do signify an accomplishment, but they're just steps towards what I'm hoping is a greater game that I'm working towards. How do you overcome the stigma against cozy or girly games not being considered real games? By outlasting every dumbass that says that. There was a period of time, within our lifetimes actually, I think 2016 was a big time for this, where there was this big debate about what qualified as a real game. This was happening at a time where a lot more women and queer people and minorities were starting to enter the game industry. I think that's very interesting. And there were a lot of people, a lot of scholars or experts or whatever, who were like, the kinds of games that I like are real, and the kinds of games that I don't like are not real. But you know what ended up happening? Stardew Valley sold 1 million fucking copies and everybody shut up, okay? Money is very validating, unfortunately. So if there's somebody who's annoying you and who says that you can't do this or that, all you have to do is outlast them. That's it. Just, they will eventually get tired of being wrong. Oh, how do you make time or mental space to make games in your free time? More important than anything else is momentum. As long as you do a little bit every day, you get a lot farther than if you do like a big chunk and then you stop for a bunch, and then do a big chunk and then you stop for a bunch. Because I mean, if you think about like playing a video game, if you play a video game for a really long time and then you stop for a really long time, if you go back to the video game, it's harder because you've forgotten a lot of stuff. Focus on having like a streak, like doing just a teeny bit every day, and you will be shocked at how much progress you make when it doesn't even feel like you're doing that much on a daily basis. But like the most deadly parts are like the long streaks where nothing is happening, right? Because you've lost momentum. But ultimately, even when I have those long streaks, and I do, I always get back on the horse because this is what I was meant to do. This is what I was put on this earth to do. It's what you're living for, so why would you not do the thing that you're living for, even though you're tired? And someday, hopefully, if I'm very lucky, I will be able to do this and only this for the rest of my life. So, you know, I won't need to support myself. And that's something that motivates me. What is your favorite food? Finally, a question of substance and character. My favorite food is a corn dog. I currently have corn dogs in my freezer. I had a corn dog this morning. I think I could eat corn dogs every day, not for every meal, but I could eat a corn dog every day and I would be okay. Not only is it delicious, but it has a very silly, whimsical history. My current favorite version of the corn dog is the Korean corn dog with mozzarella and sausage, and it's rolled in, not Fruit Loops, what is the other one? Fruity Pebbles. It's rolled in Fruity Pebbles, and it's the most crispy, crunchy, flaky, delicious, melty, ooey gooey thing, and it's so... Please go and eat a Korean corn dog with Fruity Pebbles. That to me is like the current Uber version of this. Okay, now here's a good one. Now we know how to make girly games. Can you also teach us how we can sell girly games? Well, if I fucking knew, I wouldn't be here right now. Here's what I will say. You can market a game all you want. You can have the most brilliant, inroad, like market research, whatever this and that. If your game sucks, it's not gonna sell well, no matter how good you market it. I would focus first and foremost on finishing a game and making it good. And that is easily the thing that will market your game the most, is having somebody play it and be like, this is amazing. A stamp of approval from players is the best way to market your game. If you've never made a game before, you shouldn't be thinking about marketing it because you ain't got nothing to sell. Do not sell tickets to the rehearsal. Sell tickets to the final performance, okay? So a lot of people have asked me if I will ever make a Discord server so that girly game devs can come together and work together. If I ever have the opportunity to be able to do like the YouTube and the game development thing full time, I will absolutely make a Discord server. In my experience, game development Discord servers kind of suck. They're really bad at curating like actual community. In recent years, the only thing that anybody ever does on them is they post like their Steam like wish list. In order to create a space where people actually uplift each other and support each other through development without it just devolving into like a self-promotion platform, that takes work and time that I presently don't have. But I would absolutely love to make that for you guys someday. I just have to be able to support myself first, but it's happening. It will happen eventually. Okay, so those were all the questions. There's so many, but now this is the part of the video where I ask you a question, and I'm really excited. So earlier in this video, you remember I said that everyone, when they were a child, probably had a game that they made up. Nobody taught it to them. It was just a game that they made. You made up with your friends because you were in a specific environment, or because you had like some toys that you just played with in a very specific way, or like a scenario that you would always play with your friends when you were at the playground. Whatever it is, I want you to tell me what game you made up when you were a kid. I would love to read in the comments all of the different things that you played, and I highly recommend that you go through the comments and read what everybody else wrote. I bet we're gonna find some really interesting stories. I can't promise that I won't steal one of your childhood games because it'll inspire me to make like another idea to put into one of these books. So as long as you're willing to give that information up, I would love to hear it from you. Okay,